Come with me while I clean this nasty kitchen and put this grocery away. It's T, single mom of two wild teens. Y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all how I ended up pregnant at 14 while we put this stuff away. So first, I'm gonna start off how me and my baby daddy met. We both was walking up the street, passing each other, and we both was looking at each other. I thought he was cute, and you know how you could feel somebody staring at you when you pass them and you turn around, and they really was. That's how it was. Yeah, it was one of those. So me and him walked back up to each other, and I asked him where he was from because he had on this certain color shirt that this little clique used to wear that I used to be with because my sister and my cousin was from there. So he asked me for my number. I gave it to him. My dad had just got me a phone, so I gave him my number, and me and him talked all night. Me and him talked on the phone all night, and he asked me if I wanted to come over and see him, and I told him yeah. So he told me he'll meet me halfway. Neither one of us had a car, so we met each other halfway, and when I went to his house, I never left from that moment forward. Like, we was together every day, all day. We did everything together. Like, he even took me to his hometown, his city where he was from. And, you know, like, he introduced me to a few people that he grew up with, a few family members. And I thought I was in a real relationship, y'all, until I ended up pregnant. When I went to my dad and told him I was pregnant, you guys, my dad was furious. Imagine your 14-year-old daughter coming and telling you that she's pregnant by an 18-year-old. My dad wanted to know who it was, off with his head. Like, he was furious. And I forgot, my mom was in a whole nother state. Like, my mom was in a small town where she grew up at. And she was sad, too, when I told her, like, but my dad gave me an ultimatum. He was all like, you could either go with your mom or you can stay here and get an abortion. Y'all, I thought I was grown and in love. So I chose to go and live with my mom. So my mom ended up having to come out here anyways because one of my family members had passed away. Rest in peace, Jackie. So when I went back to that small town with my mom, y'all, I hated it. It was literally nothing there, like no Walmart, no, nothing. The hospital that I had my daughter at, that I had to have my baby, was an hour away. So I did not want to be there. And when I did finally get out of there, my daughter was 10 months. And I was coming back to the city where I was from because it was time for her to meet her dad at this point. My daughter dad did keep up with her as much as he possibly can when I was in that small town. But y'all, I couldn't even keep up with a phone because I was a teenager. Like, at this point, I'm only 15 years old. I couldn't even keep up with a phone. But he did try to keep access to us as much as he possibly can. But when I came back to my city where I was from, my daughter was 10 months. And she still couldn't even meet him because when I got back out here, I found out that he was in jail. I did write him a few letters. You know, he wrote me back. And I let him know that I was here and I was looking for him. But y'all, in the midst of all of that, y'all know I told y'all I used to be with like little cliques and stuff like that. So I was kind of like a troubled teen anyways. And I ended up getting in trouble myself. Yes, I got caught stealing. I was stealing matching outfits for me and my daughter for Easter. And I got caught. And that's another story. But when I got caught, when I went to court, the judge sent me to a little juvie camp. At this point, my daughter was 1. So she still couldn't even meet her dad. But when she did, my dad was the one that had to make the introduction between them two. But when I got sent to the juvie camp, one of the requirements for me to come home was for me to go back to that small town with my mom. Now, the juvie camp wasn't all that bad because I learned a lot of stuff that I never knew, like sports. I played badminton, I played croquet. I never even heard of them sports before I went there. I took trades like welding, hospitality, hotel management, culinary. Like, I learned a few things while I was there, so it wasn't so bad. But one of the requirements was for me to go back to the small town with my mom. Mind you, my baby was still in the city where I was from. So when I went out there, I was all like, yeah, I was trying to come home. Like, it was about that time. I had to get back to my kid. But when I did come home, my cousin ended up getting on a bus and he brought my kid to the small town. He brought her back to the country where we was at. So when I got back to the country, I ended up meeting a guy, y'all. Me and him did spend a lot of time together. Like we was together every day, all day. Now that's one thing about me. Like when I meet a guy and I like them, that's who I'm with. Like I'm not a hopper. I stick to you. I see only you. So yeah, me and him was together every day. We was kicking it real tough. But y'all, next thing you know it, my mom, she come to me. Like my mom, we had a big, nice house. You know, we had a pecan tree in our yard. It wasn't so bad at this point. Like, no, I didn't want to leave. But my mom ended up coming to me and was all like, we got to go back to the city. Like, we finna leave. I'm like, what? I'm like, girl, I got a relationship. That's not what I told her, but that's what I was thinking. Like, so I didn't really take her serious, but yes, we ended up leaving. And when we left and we came back to the city where I was from, I was sick as a dog. Like, I was real sick. And I ended up telling my mom, like, I don't feel good. So my mom took me to the hospital, and that's when they told me that I was pregnant. I could not believe it. I was pregnant again, and I was devastated because I was only 16 and I already had a kid. Like, I thought my daughter was the only one that I could have. Like, y'all, I loved my baby so much. I still remember when my cousin brought her back to the country and I hadn't seen her in 7 months. Like, I never let my kid leave my side again. But yes, they told me that I was pregnant. So I called the guy that I was talking to in the country that I was pregnant by, and he wasn't happy, but he wasn't sad or mad either. It was just like a whatever. And I already had a kid at this point, so I knew how serious it was. So I end up, I called his mom and I told her, like, hey, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm 16. I already have a baby. Like, I don't need any more kids right now. You know, I'm still trying to go to school. And I had already been homeless before with my first daughter. So just imagine, like, being home. You can't even do what you supposed to do. Like, I couldn't even go to school sometimes. But that's what I had told her, you know, and she was a little supportive, you know, like she was telling me that she'll get the baby or whatever, but that's another story. I'm not really going to go into that, but yeah, y'all, this is my story, my part one and my part two of how I ended up with two kids before I was even 18 years old. Y'all, I do suffer from depression and things like that, and this is before I even had kids. So I do go through a lot. Some of the things that I've been through is actually really unbelievable. But enough of that. Y'all, look how I cleaned this kitchen up. I got down in this kitchen. I did what I had to do because this kitchen looked a mess. It was actually horrible. Y'all follow my Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram for more of single mom of two wild teens. Thank y'all for all of the support. Anybody that watches this and that go and support me, y'all please like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, all opinions is welcome. So no judgment over here. Peace.